What's up, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes is a movie review website similar to Metacritic for video games. Now, I love a good video game, but sometimes I just like to sit back, forget I have opposable thumbs, and watch a good movie. But what if I wanted to combine the two? What if I wanted a fun, memorable video game experience while not having to use my hands at all? That'll never happen. Yes, video game movies. Many things in life are inevitable. Converse will always be in style, Ubisoft will release a Just Dance this year, and the drive-thru will say, enjoy your meal, but you'll end up saying, thanks, YouTube, damn it! But one thing that always seems to reign true is video game movies are always bad. Now, Xalem, you may ask, this can't always be the case. Surely there has to be some good video game movies out there. Ha! And there are some exceptions. Pokemon has had plenty of successful movies and a TV show, and video games even make for great animes. But live-action video game movies always fail to hit the mark. Seriously, the highest-rated video game movie is Detective Pikachu with a 68, and Sonic's right behind it with a 63. And these are okay movies, nothing to go home and tell your mother about. Mom, have you seen the new Banjo-Kazooie movie? But we can look at these two movies and see what they did wrong and what they did right to figure out how video game movies tend to fail and what actions lead them to being considered a disaster. So how do we make a video game movie? Well, first we have to have a series popular enough to have a live action adaptation. Nobody sits around going, alright guys, I got the perfect idea. Next live action film we're doing? I mean, the first video game movie was Super Mario Bros., and in the late 90s, everybody could tell you who the Mario Brothers were. Just maybe not the Goombas. But a video game series needs to be popular enough to warrant audiences to go see it. Like, seriously, nobody played the game Postal. You expect the movie to do well? But when it comes to video game adaptations, I tend to put them into two categories: true adaptations and loosely based films. Loosely based films are movies that I don't even think are worth mentioning. These are movies like the Resident Evil series, where they have the rights to Resident Evil and the Umbrella Chronicles, and the rest is nothing like a Resident Evil game. Rampage, the classic action arcade game, became a 2018 live-action film featuring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And I smell a cash grab! There's no plot to Rampage, it's a simple arcade game. It's like if you took Need for Speed, a game about literally driving a car, and made a live-action movie about it, and that's exactly what they did. Now with these live-action adaptations, I did some digging to try to find out what every single one of these movies had in common. And as much as I hate to do it, I have to talk about politics, the bane of everyone's existence. You go online to escape the stress of the world and boom, politics. Damn it! Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Captain America, Sophia the First. I couldn't give a shit less about these people. So why do movie studios feel the need to put politics or military in every fucking movie? Well, every video game has a world, and every world has a story. Even if it's simple, building a world has to have some sort of economy or structure to bring a sense of realism for the player to relate to. Think of all your big video game characters. Mario is meant to rescue a princess. Zelda's basically self-explanatory. And Master Chief, well, he's the military man himself. But here's the joy of video games. I start up Halo, skip the opening cutscene, boom, I'm in the game. The glory of video games is if I don't want to look into politics or the story, for many titles, I don't have to. But if I want a game that explores politics with a government message, I can explore them on my own and have an amazing experience. But with movies, I don't get that luxury. Every part of the movie's environment has to be enjoyable, as I don't have the options to experience the level of interactivity I have with a game. With politics involved, I've already got somebody screaming at me. Hi, have you voted today, sir? Listen, I just want to watch Mr. Mime get trapped in the box. Look, he's stuck in there! It doesn't matter what you say in today's world. If it's about politics, it sells. If I pour my heart and soul into a Twitter post about why Bulbasaur and Detective Pikachu is cute, I get 1 like. But if I post the most jaw-dropping, controversial opinion of Donald Trump, boom, Twitter famous. Which is why video games do it. It's simple and almost brainless of an idea for non-fans to latch onto, because it's something we experience every day. But when you have an entire catalog of games to choose from when doing video game adaptations, companies always rely on playing it safe. Take Sonic the Hedgehog. In the movie, Sonic goes to planet Earth and knocks out power on the entire East Coast, in which the government hires Dr. Robotnik to investigate. Now, if you've played the Sonic games, you'll know that Robotnik is consistently anti-government. I mean, come on, this dude blew up the moon. But because militarizing is such an easy concept to introduce, you get the picture. Now, when it's needed, it's needed. You can't really make an Assassin's Creed movie without mentioning Abstergo Industries and the animus that the entire series is based around. Without making the sole focus politicization, you can create a focus on the movie, but the movie has to have substance too. See, when creating a video game movie, I feel like directors and writers don't really understand what fans want. I feel like their conclusion is, I really like this game. I wish I could play it again without touching the controller. And if not that, it's, I really like this game. I wish I could experience it again because, you know, I can't touch a controller. But at the end of the day, just look it up on YouTube. If I wanted to understand the story of Prince of Persia, I would just play Prince of Persia. Although I can see how the argument can be made that you'd like to see your favorite characters brought to life on the big screen. And I have to agree. But to that I say, wouldn't you rather have your characters brought to life with a brand new idea? I don't need a 15-hour game like The Last of Us stripped down into a 90-minute story, when instead I could just watch the cutscenes, which is the size of a 12-episode Netflix series. Which is where we come back to Detective Pikachu, as I think this is what they did right. Everybody knows what Pokemon is. If you need a 20-minute
explanation of what Pikachu is, I don't know how to help you. It takes its already established Pokemon lore and gives a new take on the classic noir detective genre. We see Pokemon ideas and references flourishing throughout this movie while keeping a story simplistic enough for newcomers of the series to understand. And even though the story is basic, you can still leave the theater with a sense of joy knowing that the developers took the time to service the well-established series and give fans and newcomers alike a fresh new perspective on an inventive story inside the Pokemon universe. And I think the thing that aids this movie the most is that it can't be forgettable due to the sheer amount of familiar faces, with its most familiar face taking on the role of a brand new personality, a fun, snarky Pikachu that you genuinely start to care for. Which, I mean, come on, it's Ryan Reynolds. We're just falling more in love with Ryan Reynolds. I think that leads me to my final point, that video games are an outlet for entering a fictional world. Due to this, video games are full of silent protagonists. Usually the most popular video game characters are one-track characters meant to just capture the feel of the game, while the characters around them help build the environment. Link would be the best example, as he's truly the player insert, with a supporting cast of characters helping fuel our emotions and get connected to the overall story. Movies, on the other hand, typically have the opposite effect. With a limited time to tell a story, movies usually rely on 3 or 4 main roles, with one of those typically belonging to a villain, and if one character falls flat, the rest can surely follow. That's why Marvel has become so popular in recent years. Each superhero breathes a colorful splash of personality into their characters, so when they all come together on the silver screen, it's a kaleidoscope of interesting and differentiating perspectives that truly brings out the world that we've grown to love. That's why in video game movies, if the main character is stripped of its emotion like in their games, it can't truly add to the experience. You have to create a world full of characters and life to help entice the viewer into getting connected. Like, do you think I'd watch Avatar if the characters were boring? Exactly, that's why I don't watch Avatar. If the viewer has no emotional attachment to any character, how are they supposed to feel attached to the world? Despite its other problems, Sonic the Hedgehog has life breathing through its character. So even though we have this cheesy sequence where Sonic feels lonely, I still kinda care, because this character has fortunately been developed enough to bring me into the world to truly make me want to know what happens next. Video game movies never fail to be uneventful, and if I had to sum up everything wrong with video game movies, it would be the newest Monster Hunter trailer. First, let's just start by taking out everything that's military and government. That's not even an exaggeration. I could take this entire trailer from start to finish and at the end just say, boom, Dragon Quest. Boom, Final Fantasy. Boom, Spyro Year of the Dragon. I mean, that's a little far-fetched, but honestly, would it shock you at this point? Movie producers don't know how to mix a new inventive story with the iconic signature of what made these series so great in the first place. Monster Hunter would be so simple. With Monster Hunter World being such a huge success, you have a world full of ideas and lore that could truly be explored in a live-action scope. And the kicker here is that in Monster Hunter World, there are no main characters with any names, dozens of different creatures with a rich history in the series. Capcom has truly been able to provide a blank canvas for any movie producer to explore to their heart's content. But what do we get? A movie poster with Diablos, a creature that's immune to fire, standing right behind a character with fire weapons. It's really unfortunate that video game movies have never been able to truly live up to the expectations placed upon them. Some movies that have been turned into video games are highly regarded by many to be some of the greatest of all time, but when the script is flipped, it's unfortunate that we can't say the same. With the rise of the internet and the entire video game industry voicing their opinions, it's easier now more than ever for producers to figure out what to do right. There are plenty of people who share the same ideas and opinions on the state of video game movies. It's just finding the right writers and producers to put them in action. I feel the biggest hope of the near future is Uncharted, as it has everything lining up for it. Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg are playing a younger Nathan Drake and Sully respectively, with the director of Zombieland and the writers of Iron Man joining the cast. The origins of a young Nathan Drake were very slightly touched upon in Uncharted 4, so I think everyone is truly curious how the story is going to turn out in this pre-Indiana Jones type era of Drake's life. But if Uncharted is a wash, maybe it's time to let the video game movies rest, as it would seem that video game movies are doomed to eternity. But if not, maybe we'll finally be able to see the day that a video game movie scores above a 70 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Now, technically speaking, The Angry Birds 2 is actually the highest rated video game movie of all time, scoring a 73 on Metacritic. But this is actually a lie, because Cars the movie came out 3 days after the video game, making Cars the movie the highest rated video game movie of all time. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Is my mic on? Is my mic on? My mic is indeed on, yeah. Okay.